Tessitore, Sean Farnham, Laura Rutledge with you as we continue Super Tuesday presented by Boost Mobile from Rupp Arena here, where upset-seeking Vanderbilt has only won 2 times in 40 games through the years, going up against now number 21 Kentucky. Sean, fresh off that classic comeback against West Virginia.
A game where you saw a lot of growth for Kentucky in the second half. What a pass.
That was Riley LaChance getting it into Obina.
Riley LaChance has just played with such great composure as of late. Last 3 games, Tess, shooting better than 50% from 3, 57% from the field, averaging more than 25 points per game, and then distributing the basketball. He has really become more aggressive with Matthew Fisher-Davis no longer in the lineup.
Fisher-Davis was hurt against Kentucky back on January 13th. And working underneath and heading to the line will be Nick Richards, who had the thrilling putback, the rim-rattling dunk against West Virginia Saturday. Laura, we understand Coach Cal's not feeling so well tonight.
Not feeling well at all tonight, Tess. He's under the weather. Actually had to leave shoot-around early today, which very rarely happens for him, if ever. And he's going to try to coach this game as well as he can. Guys, he's only missed 1 game before, never here at Kentucky. The 1 game he's missed was at UMass.
Ducked out in the shoot-arounds early. Spent time talking to Kenny Payne, who's been the associate head coach here for 7 years. On the go, and the feed underneath again to Obina, rejected.
Well, Tess, I got a feeling that Nick Richards is going to have a double-double tonight.
Went up strong that time. It'll take another trip to the line. As that foul is on the 6'10 freshman Obina. Now, Vandy's starting lineup minus Matthew Fisher-Davis, who's out for the remainder of the season. Roberson and LaChance have really stepped up recently. We talked about LaChance. Roberson had 20 points the other day in the win over TCU.
Well, last week we came in here on Tuesday, and I thought that P.J. Washington was going to get over 20. He ended up getting there. Tonight, my feeling and my sense is Nick Richards has been playing a lot better as of late, Tess. And this was a team in which he struggled at and struggled against in their first meeting. In fact, after the game, Coach Cal called him up and said, hey, look, I'm going to take guys and play the guys I think they're going to win and help us win the game. That's what it's about. And you can see already the interior size that Nick Richards brings to the court. It's problematic for Vanderbilt.
Sean, I thought he looked excellent in the second half against West Virginia. Had 8 points and 5 rebounds during that comeback. Saban Lee, as he's able to get it underneath once again to Obina.
Well, and what you're seeing from Nick Richards already in this game is an energy level and a focus to attention to detail. And that detail is really 5 feet in at both ends of the court. Protect the basket, rebound the ball, and attack the rim.
LaChance curling around Richards with the rebound. Here's the guy who had the hot hand the other day.
Now see it.
Kevin Knox went for 34 points on Saturday.
He had the hot hand the other day. I think his first basket would have been better served shot faking and driving to a mid-range jump shot or getting to the rim for Kevin Knox to get him in that rhythm.
Roberson against Gabriel, stripped away by Knox. Up ahead, Gilgeous-Alexander, and missing the glory end was Knox. And now Lee has fouled on the floor. That'll be charged to Richards.
The idea was great. The execution, not all that great. The pass was thrown a little bit more out in front than Kevin Knox would have hoped for, and then just unable to finish. And because of it, it exposes Nick Richards on the back line. He picks up a foul. It was good talk that time by Wenyen Gabriel defensively to Nick Richards to switch back after the initial screen. It's an area where Kentucky's gotten better.
Vince trying to get it over to the corner and turnover as he was looking for Saban Lee.
Tess, that's just great defense overall. And little things that you look for in the West Virginia game that can kind of carry you through. And the talk and communication at shoot-around today was noticeably better than what we saw over the last couple of weeks. An example of that, and Wenyen Gabriel has been so infectious with his energy, but they switched on a screen. He's talking back. I could hear him even from where we're sitting on the other side of the half court. That's the kind of communication you need to become a good defensive team.
And that's a word that was missing in recent weeks when we would visit here in Lexington for these Super Tuesdays, communication. But now with a bit of confidence coming off the impressive road win at West Virginia, as Joe Toye picks up his first, you can sense things are a bit different. Now, Coach Cal says you have to maintain momentum, and he worries about that when you have so many freshmen. He said, West Virginia, the win of West Virginia doesn't necessarily create momentum, not when you have freshmen. He says his job is to make them uncomfortable so that they can play in the environments and become more consistent. Quade Green and Gilgeous-Alexander, the backcourt for Kentucky. Trying to turn it with the right hand was Gilgeous-Alexander that time. Here's Lee on the drive, and he was fouled. Laura?
Well, guys, you're talking about Coach Cal's perspective on the win over West Virginia, but for these Kentucky players, Kevin Knox said everybody's doubted us all year long. Everyone said we weren't ready. We're just a bunch of freshmen who don't know what we're doing. We believed inside our locker room we could get this done, and he said they believed they could win. That was a big proving point for them. Now they got to carry it on.
Laura and Sean, as we've talked about, you get that momentum, you get that confidence, but you also get more of the pieces of the puzzle back together in the course of the past week. We're greatly affected by injuries, and of course Jared Vanderbilt not making his college debut until 2 weeks ago. Diallo unable to get it to go. Here's Lee. Couldn't finish.
And that was one they should have made because P.J. Washington looked like he was going to pinch in and help and then actually vacated his spot, giving the angle.
His own follow, P.J. Washington, who a week ago had 22 on Super Tuesday against Mississippi State. 7-2 Kentucky. When we come back, how was Bryce Drew channeling his Josh Groban a la Polar Express? We'll explain. Stick around.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile and in part by Ally. Do it right.
All right, believe. Sir. We've talked about believing. You guys have believed the last couple weeks. All right, we have to start with believing, not for 5 minutes, not for 10. If we have a lead 30 minutes into this game, it's not good enough. All right, we believe for 40 minutes. When you come over, your eyes, your face, everything better show us that you believe. That you believe that we're going to win this game after 40 minutes.
Well, Coach Drew's squad really believed in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. They had the upset win over TCU. Better start believing in their offense here against Kentucky. Their first 8 possessions, 1 of 6 shooting, 2 turnovers.
And you credit Kentucky's defense for that. Now, it's not like Kentucky's shooting that much better. They're 2 of 8. And 2 of those made field goals came off of offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Let's look at Bryce Drew in today's Infinity Coaches Corner. He's head coach at Valpo for 4 years, had 124 wins there, 2 NCAA appearances. Named head coach in April 2016 in Nashville at Vandy and led him to the NCAA tournament in his first season. 3-time Conference Coach of the Year. Time to take an Infinity timeout in your day to vote for your favorite coach and charity.
Not only that, has he done a tremendous job recruiting. They've got a top 5 class right now nationally. 2 McDonald's All-Americans locked in. for next year.
Had a great visit with Coach Drew last night, proudly saying, listen, it's the best Vandy recruiting class they've ever had. So the future is very bright. Joe Toy playing beat the clock.
Now, what you notice about this Vandy team, too, is it's a little bit different than what the perception would be. The perception is lockdown, three-point shooting team, space the floor. It's not what they do at all. They look to screen, create seams, and they look to drive. They want to drive multiple times in a given possession, try to get the defense to collapse and have to come back out, and then drive it right back at them.
Jerry Baptiste picks up his first as P.J. Washington is trying to split defenders. Knox, Richards, and Gabriel will check in for the Cats.
Tess, that was almost a platoon-like substitution for Coach Cal. And Vanderbilt gets his first minutes tonight. He's got to let the offense come to him, Tess. He's pressing at the offensive end of the floor. Did a great job on the glass, though, at West Virginia. 11 rebounds in 11 minutes.
This is Jared as he hits. And Richards draws the foul. Jared Vanderbilt had the 11 rebounds in 11 minutes against West Virginia, but he did miss all 5 shots that he took. 5 team fouls now on Vandy.
You see the problems that Nick Richards can cause for a team like Vanderbilt in this game, whether it was on the offensive glass on that first possession and getting the putback, that time elevating up, setting the screen, and then rolling hard. Kenny Payne, the assistant coach at Kentucky, does such a tremendous job year in and year out developing the skill set of the bigs. And it's every year, Tess, we get to the middle of January, late January, and things start improving for the interior presence of Kentucky.
Good rebound from Jared. Couldn't finish it into the hands of Baptiste, but that's that energy and hustle hitting the glass that Coach Cal talks about. Roberson, long 3. Nails it. Jeff Roberson, Vandy's leading scorer, leading rebounder. He's been averaging over 20 points per game in their last 3 games. Here's Jared. Took steps. Offensively, he's just a little clunky right now, off rhythm since coming back.
He's trying to do too much too quickly. He comes in the game thinking, I got to score and get myself in a rhythm. Tonight's going to be different. Don't do that. Just get out there, play some defense. Start taking your opportunities when you have it.
Rattling in for Sabin Lee.
Really good shot fake in the corner, stepping in. A little shot fake elevated Wenyon Gabriel, and he found the seam and settled for the mid-range jump shot.
And with that, Vanderbilt takes the lead. Knox, 16-footer, way off. Toy tracks it down. Lee on the go against Quade Green. Couldn't get it high off the glass. As Quade Green will settle things down, the freshman guard from Philadelphia, who a couple weeks ago was dealing with the back injury that had him out for 3 straight games. Tried to leave it on the roll for Nick Richards. Our women's Thursday night showcase is a top 10 matchup. We've got undefeated number 1 UConn taking on 9th-ranked South Carolina. That's coming your way 7 Eastern on ESPN. You know, South Carolina has never beaten UConn in 5 chances. Of course, last year things went their way, found their way towards the national title game, and celebrated there. UConn won the meeting last year 66-55 at Campbell.
South Carolina, Don Staley's program. They got the national championship banner at home. You know it's going to be a sold-out crowd. It's going to be fantastic. And UConn, people every year it gets to this point, Tess. How often do we start getting to this time of year and go, hey, UConn's undefeated, number 1 in the country for Gino? It seems like it's become a broken record. But Don Staley's team, although they haven't had success, they're one of those groups that don't live in fear of the mystique of
I think
UConn.
that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
When you go up against Gino and UConn.
It's like when I started working with you, I was fearful.
Oh,
the
please,
mystique
you
of the
stop.
test effect and close games, and I was wondering what it was going to be like.
Well, right now, it's Vandy by 1. Roberson off the mark. Rebound by Wenyen Gabriel. Knox hits that next gear, and then it was slapped away. Washington came up with it. Gabriel.
And right now, what Vanderbilt's doing is they're turned off the water inside. They're forcing Kentucky to be a jump shooting team, and that's exactly what Bryce Drew would want the Commodores to be able to do.
Look at that. Nice drive by Larry Austin. Transfer from Xavier.
More and more of this program is taking on the identity of their head coach.
Knox gets his own and then finishes. Offensive boards were a concern for Coach Drew. See a 6-1 edge for the Cats. Austin crossing over, probing, back out to Willis. Shot clock down to 1. Chased down by Brown. And the foul on the floor as Roberson was in the paint. Time to take an infinity timeout in your day to vote for your favorite coach and charity.
Carter the kick. Menate with the slam. Carter for 3. And it's all Mountaineers. Gabriel got all of that. Another 3 for Kevin Knox.
This is one of the more improbable turnarounds that I can remember.
But Richards with a follow.
Great win for Kentucky.
Absolutely.
That was a thrilling comeback Saturday night against West Virginia for Kentucky. You say beyond all those great plays that we saw, there was something you saw that could be the turning point of their season.
Body language, communication, and essentially a voice coming from within. Leadership out of this Kentucky team, and that's what to me got me most excited. You and I were at the Jayhawker after our game. A&M in Kansas having some food, nice little dinner. There's a scrum going on the floor. This is a moment where an immature team would take the bait. Instead, look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander telling everybody to back up. Hami then grabs Kevin Knox and says, "No, we're keeping this thing together." And that communication from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander told me that there's a confidence level that is growing within this young team. Take it one step further. On Sunday, when this team met, the coaching staff showed them the highlights of the game. Do you want to know what they considered the highlights?
What?
The bench. The life, the energy, the screaming, the yelling. They did a whole entire video edit just on bench performance and saying how that is an indication of this team getting to where it needs to be, celebrating for each other, communicating with each other.
That's a great message to deliver. I'll tell you, that was a great delivery to the 10 by that guy right there, Peyton Willis. But that comeback you saw for Kentucky at West Virginia, that was their biggest second-half comeback in 14 years.
Well, right now they got to figure out a way to stop the dribble penetration. The defense is breaking down as the ball shifts side for side. Vanderbilt's able to get in the middle.
Knox answers in the lane, pushing that through.
By the way, we can now just use the name Vanderbilt because Jared's not on the floor.
Exactly.
But when he's on the floor, it gets confusing even for me.
Just go with Jared. Here's Willis again. Roberson, their leading scorer, gets it over to the corner. Evans couldn't get it to go. There was some contact underneath. And that'll be on Sasha Kalea-Jones, his second.
A little handoff, a distinct size advantage for Kevin Knox, and that is where he needs to be, at least early in the game. Continue to get those curl cuts, dribble handoffs, get to the middle of the paint, utilize your size and athleticism to finish over the top of the smaller Commodores.
Kentucky's sixth team foul. Roberson. And good rebound by Nick Richards. Foul call underneath. You see Cleavon Brown checking in, Laura.
Yeah, Tez, he bit his upper lip, so a lot of blood on the bench as a result of that, but they feel that the situation is under control enough to get him back in action. Other than the unpleasant nature of biting your lip, according to the athletic trainer, he's fine.
It's a nice euphemism there. The unpleasant nature of biting your lip. Yeah, when another 250-pound man is crashing down to the ground. As they get it inside to Washington, back outside, little ball reversal here. Diallo, 15-footer, won't drop for him. The rebound by Evans. LeChance probing. Out of control. Sure was. Sort of lost that middle step and had to throw it up with the left hand. Speaking of Alexander just throwing it out as Knox took a move to the right, and that is third turnover for the Cats here in this first half. Coach Cal hanging in there. Laura told us wasn't feeling so well.
He's careless, though. Gilgeous-Alexander has to know better. You drive to the middle of the paint, you got nothing there. You don't have any nonverbal communication with who you're passing the ball to. Jump stop, be on balance, reverse pivot if you need to. Reestablish the offense.
He had such a good effort in the first go-around against Vandy. As Shea went for 22 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds in that Kentucky win in Nashville.
The best player right now defensively for Kentucky is Nick Richards. He is showing on every screen. He's communicating. He's recovering with great purpose. Very impressed with the energy that Nick Richards is bringing to the floor right now.
I think he's one of those guys that in the course of the past month has taken that next step in development. Laura?
Yeah, guys, Nick Richards has been getting some props in huddles from Cal, and he said he's done a good job getting back on ball screens. Wants him to get a little back a little bit more as his man holds.
And right on cue, right through the lane, and 8 points for Nick Richards.
And he's got 8 points and 5 rebounds already in this game. He is a mismatch problem, and again, the first go-around did not play well, but look at him showing out here. He's going to get back to the ball.
That'll be Kentucky ball. 14-13 Kentucky. We'll get an update on what's going on with the great Trae Young when we return. Thank you, Carl. Look forward to hearing what Carl, Jay, and Seth have to say at halftime. You see the SEC standings with Auburn on top with a 7-1 mark, Farnham.
And Florida now at 6-3 after they lost tonight at Georgia. 72-60 your final score. Mayton with 20.7 rebounds. Georgia plus 13 in made free throws in that game. That's a big win for Mark Fox's team that had a couple of opportunities. Even that game against Kansas State over the weekend, probably should have won that game. But let a late lead slip away.
He'll take it any way he can get it. Jared Vanderbilt against Vanderbilt. It has been a struggle recently to score for one of the prized prospects in the country who had a slow start to his college debut because of the foot injury that had him out for the first half of the year. Toy. Nice drive there as Gabriel was late coming over.
The footwork was good offensively, but poor defensively for Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, just way too easy for Toy to score.
Big time from Green. And Kentucky goes up 4. Quade Green with the 3 ball. LeChance. Top of the arc. Won't go, nor will the putback from Brown, but he was fouled.
And take a look at Jared Vanderbilt catching the ball down low, surveying. See, watch the space that they give him. They isolate him, free up room, and then reading where the defense is. As you take the defensive player into the middle of the paint, usually it's the spin back baseline if you have it, and it's going to be wide open, and that's exactly what Jared Vanderbilt was able to do.
That is 2 on Jared. You see what has happened as he's come back here, Laura.
Yeah, Coach Cal's message to Jared all week long was, let's just get you comfortable when you get out there on the floor. He feels like that Jared is moving too fast anytime he has the ball in his hands. His message is to slow down when you have the ball and understand that you're capable of making big shots.
You can understand him being anxious to get out there and be productive, but obviously he has not hit his stride offensively.
Reset of the shot clock here after the missed rebound on the free throw step-in.
That'll be Kentucky's ball. It's 5 turnovers now for Coach Drew's squad. PJ Washington as they rotate over Gilgeous-Alexander.
Such a good job of reading the defense and getting to the center of the paint. That's where Gilgeous-Alexander, his length, his wingspan, his touch.
There's some touch that time from Jeff Roberson. Gilgeous-Alexander, 6'6". He has a wingspan of 6'10" and a half.
2-3 zone by Vanderbilt. They're going to change up the defense, try to make them uncomfortable.
Just what you talked about there, Sean.
A great job by Coach Cal to put the guard in the middle of the zone. So often you see the bigs there. I like it when Coach Cal puts a quicker, more athletic player at that high post area and then allows them to go to work.
Baseline drive, Toy, and a reversal go with the foul.
It is a simple rip through and go for Toy. And help side defense, rotation slow, on ball defense doesn't make him work very hard to have to get to the spot that he wants to get to. And that combination leads to the opportunity for a three-point play.
Foul on Shea. Toy shoots under 60% from the line. As he hooked him that time, that's going to be an offensive against on Kevin Knox, his first.
You go through the analytic numbers, and sometimes you can log on to Synergy, which is a website that we use to give us what the numbers tell us about painting the picture of who a team is. Kentucky's offense is really good in a lot of areas. Isolation basketball is not one of them. They are below average in the 21st percentile of the entire country in isolation basketball. They're at their best, like they were in the second half against West Virginia, swinging the basketball, sharing the ball, finding teammates in operational areas where they can be successful right away.
The chance denied, rejected by Gilgeous-Alexander. Knox on the go, and he will head to the line.
The defense gives you an opportunity to get to the offensive end quick. In blocking shots in the past, it's been about the big guys underneath. The Anthony Davises of the world, the Willie Cauley-Steins. Good job defending the drive, not fouling that time by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, on-ball defender going up to block the shot instead of waiting for the big in the help side position.
Foul on Roberson. Knox with the 34 points Saturday against West Virginia, 6th most by a Kentucky player under Coach Cal. Of course, had so many big moments, the go-ahead three with just over a minute to play. Had the dunk when it was tied up 56-56. That was a poor trip to the line.
What's going on with the free throws here?
No. And they were so good in the second half at West Virginia. Were they 18 for 18?
18 of 18.
From the stripe in that second half and that tremendous comeback.
And neither team shooting it well at the free throw line.
Into Roberson. Good work that time, finding position. Jeff Roberson, the 6'6", 220 senior with 8 points.
Well, Nick Richards has been on the bench for a while here, and since he's been on the bench, Vanderbilt continuing to look to attack the paint. They've had some moderate success with it. I'd look to try to bring Nick Richards back in this game. He's playing well.
Richards has 8 points and 5 rebounds for Kentucky. LaChance wants the lead, and he's got it for Vanderbilt. Riley LaChance, long ball.
The last 2 offensive possessions, Vanderbilt getting exactly what you'd hope for if you're Bryce Drew. Post up, simple entry pass, nobody helping, angle to finish off the backboard. And for Vanderbilt, they've struggled in this building. For them to have success, you've got to have a little Riley LaChance from the outside. Bryce Drew's excited. He should be. They're winning.
Rear view mirror, and what's right in front of him right now, Ravi, is Vandy on a 7-0 run over the last minute 28.
Well, Nick Richards back in the game, and you talk about putting yourself a little bit more on the defensive end of the floor, giving some energy. Number 4 in white has been the guy that's provided that energy throughout the first half. Limited just 7 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, only 1 personal foul. I think you can play through him again, roll him to the rim.
Richards couldn't get the baseline jumper. Gabriel fighting for the ball, putting forth the effort, and it will stay with the Cats.
So this is an energy lineup out on the floor right now with Wenyen Gabriel and Nick Richards. You have 1 or 2 guys out on the floor, bring a little buzz, get this building rocking a little bit, energy flowing back through it, because right now it's quiet in here.
Here's Quade Green. Chance had the big 3 moments ago.
Can
he get another? Why not?
The most important person on the court, Tess, is the guy with the ball. Poor communication that time defensively for the Cats. They both back off Riley LaChance. Maybe they missed the fact that he nailed the 3 right before they went to the timeout.
Stretch it out to a 6-point lead and a 10-0 run for Vandy. Diallo against LaChance. The foul happened on the floor.
Let's go to that last possession, though, Tess. Defensively, you showed the breakdown. Here comes the screen. Wenyen Gabriel thinks he's helped enough and that they're switching back, but it's not good enough for Wenyen Gabriel to anticipate that. You could see Gilgeous-Alexander pointing like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? And that hesitation, that indecision led to a wide-open 3-point shot for Riley LaChance.
He shoots over 43% on threes. And the go-ahead 3 against TCU the other day when the game was tied at 76. You know, you think about what this team has been without Fisher Davis. Well, it's these 2 guys. You see LaChance and Roberson stepping up the last 3 games. LaChance averaging 25 points per game the last 3. Laura?
Yeah, Bryce Drew was telling Riley LaChance just before that 3-point shot that he needed to be a little bit more patient. He said, we're at our best when you are patient. Also telling this team that between timeouts is a segment, an opportunity to win that segment. He just told him in the most recent timeout, you won the last one, let's win this one. Also telling them, make sure that you keep Kentucky shooting from the perimeter.
A lot of times coaches will say that, Tess, that you have 4 or 5 minute mini battles that go on during the course of each half. How many of those mini battles can you win?
Double bonus as Roberson shooting 2. Richards just picked up his 2nd moments ago. P.J. Washington checks in for Nick Richards.
The other thing, too, is we talk about Kentucky and their big win. Let's not look past, again, you mentioned it already once, Tess. The win for Vandy against TCU was a huge victory for this squad. Without Matthew Fisher Davis, starting to play with some better confidence, more aggressiveness.
Diallo, baseline drive, right hand off the glass. And Riley LaChance, incredulous to the call there, as he ended up on his seat and charged with his second. Well, Saturday on ESPN, we've got the basketball version of the Red River rivalry. Trae Young, 12th ranked Sooners, take it on Texas, and then Michigan State and Indiana going at it, both games on ESPN. It's a good day of hoop there. It's going to be a good night of fights, too. We got 2 world title fights on ESPN on Saturday night. Zurdo Ramirez, the undefeated super middleweight champion of the world.
Where's that at?
That is down in Corpus Christi, Texas. You want to sit ringside with me, Farnham?
No, I don't.
you do not wear a white shirt when Zurdo Ramirez is fighting. You're going to have blood speckle across it.
I'm not going to be far away from you. I'll be in College Station.
Oh, you got to come down. You got a game there in College Station. 6-point lead for Vanderbilt.
Look at the way they're spacing out right now, and the poise and patience that the Commodores are showing.
Skip pass to the corner, and Willis will get it back out to LaChance, who wants even more. Came up well short that time as they were contesting it. LaChance was feeling it. Just over a minute and a half to go. Kentucky trailing by 6.
A little too patient on that possession. I think Willis should have taken the three-point look that he had on the skip pass right away.
And Lee will check in for Riley LaChance. Here's Shea. Runner goes for Gilgeous-Alexander. He has 6.
Very effective attacking the basket. Kentucky's got to remain on the throttle a little bit more and not settling for the jump shots.
Willis. Here's Toy.
Good defense that time by Kentucky. Poor shot by Toy.
Under a minute to go in this first half. Hani. Roll wouldn't drop his way. Roberson was able to get it out to Lee. Settle this thing down here with a half-minute to play.
So there was an opportunity to maybe go 2 for 1 on the possession if they wanted to do it. They didn't recognize it fast enough.
Roberson against Diallo. They double him. Get it over to Lee. Shot clock at 1. Got to get it off. Violation.
I didn't like any aspect of that possession for Vanderbilt. Again, I thought they should have gone in transition, looked for a 2 for 1 opportunity. Instead, they decide to work the clock down and then get a shot clock violation. Too passive the last 2 possessions for Vanderbilt. I understand wanting to go to locker room with the lead, but you have to remember what got you the lead is being aggressive, attacking the paint, not settling from the outside. That's an illegal screen. That's an easy call. Wendy and Gabriel never was set there. Wasn't even close.
And he's getting that look as he walks back in front of the bench. So one last look for Vanderbilt. Roberson through the lane. Couldn't get it to finish with the left hand, but the foul is called with zeros on the clock.
And they're going to take a look at this one. Kentucky being down at the half. Similar, obviously, to Saturday. The margin not quite the same. Watch the back cut defensively. Everybody is just watching.
See that left arm of Wenyen Gabriel.
But what is Kevin Knox doing here? What is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Who are they defending? You have 2 people in white standing next to each other, neither one of them defending the ball.
Mike Nance, Michael Roberts, Ron Gruber. our officials here tonight.
And just said, look, they're going to look at it, see how much time they have to add back onto the clock, if there is any, since the clock went 2-0. And they're going to put it at .4. Again, finishing off the half with discipline. It goes back to what Seth Greenberg was saying back in the studio. The energy, the focus. We saw so much of that in the second half in West Virginia, and here in the first half, there's been numerous opportunities where you can get a stop or make the right play, and they've had mental or energy lapses, in particular at the defensive end of the floor.
Think about what Coach Cal said. Everybody's raving about the way they looked coming off of West Virginia. People ask about, they got momentum now. He said, no, it doesn't create momentum when you have freshmen. He's warning everybody.
Coach Cal's already off the floor. He just said, inbound the ball, and we're gone.
Well, he may need to hydrate himself and get some rest. He left shoot-around early today, not feeling well at all.
Well, look, Bryce Drew talked about believing. They believed for the first 20. Laura.
All right, thanks, Joe. You said before this game, Coach, that this team would need to believe. What have you seen from them so far?
Really excited how we finished this half. We had a segment there at that 16-minute mark that we didn't play with the intensity we needed, but we picked it back up and like our position right now, up 6.
You said that you would need to force this Kentucky team to shoot from the outside. Have you seen success there?
At times we've done a good job. Obviously, boxing out's going to be key all game. We're undersized. We got to be physical. We got to be tough. We got to be relentless to get the ball, and we're going to have to do it for 20 more minutes.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Roberson shot well from the outside, had 2 made threes, led the way with 12 points, a 33-27 score here. Vandy on top, had a 17-6 run to close out the half, as we will soon have the Alfa Romeo halftime report following this short break. Stay with us. Is up by 6, 27 points, the third fewest points for a Kentucky team in the first half this season. Joe Tessitore and Sean Farnham with you. All-time Vandy is 2-38 here at Rupp Arena. They got the halftime lead. They also have 2 senior leaders who are very determined.
Well, yeah, and I think you look at the first half, and they relied on Riley LaChance and Jeff Roberson a ton in their half-court offense, and in a variety of ways. It was LaChance being a facilitator. He has 3 of the team's 5 assists in the first half. Roberson stretched from the outside, 12 points for him, able to play with his back to the basket, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Riley LaChance only made 2 shots, partner. Both of them were big. That one went to the timeout, and then on the very next possession out of the timeout, miscommunication defensively. You back off, you give space, and he was able to drill it. And the numbers, what they tell me in the first half is Kentucky played isolation basketball again. Only 1 assist in the first 20 minutes for the Kentucky Wildcats. They've got to share the ball, they've got to get out in floor and transition, and they've got to stay better connected at the defensive end of the floor.
What can you offer up, Miss Laura Rutledge?
Well, exactly what Sean just said. That 1 assist, that was the stat that bothered Coach Cal the most at halftime. He said, we do have to share the ball. And what happened to that great communication I saw against West Virginia? He told his team at halftime, look, you guys get 1 big win and you think you're all that. Well, that first half should show you differently. He wants to see 20 solid minutes of basketball in the second half. By the way, guys, Coach Cal still feeling very much under the weather, but he said he's hanging in there best he can.
Yep. Told you earlier that he left shoot-around earlier today. And Laura's been on top of that all night long, but he is hanging in there on the bench. And now let's see if his team can come back against Vandy. Gilgeous-Alexander will get the second half started. He has 8.
But it's off an assist. Already on the first possession, you have an assist movement without the ball. Unselfishly give it up to your teammate, step in and knock down a shot that they're comfortable with.
He was probing, back out to LaChance. LaChance around Richards, and then tried to leave it underneath for Roberson. And Sloppy with the turnover lead to the corner, shot fake LaChance. Over to Roberson for 3, and the rebound by Nick Richards. And that is 6 rebounds for Richards tonight. Knox through the lane. And the foul underneath.
Again, that goes back to isolation basketball, Tess, and I don't like it. I would love to see Knox be able to get the ball in that position, give it up. Somebody come down, set a screen for him, as we saw in the first half, where he can curl at the free throw line, catch with momentum going towards the basket.
It's charged to Ejike Obina, freshman center for Vandy. Lee comes up with it. LaChance in the corner. Got it.
A 50-50 ball. Vanderbilt comes up with it. And then a smart move by Lee, driving in and reverse pivoting, finding the shooter in the corner. Tess, watch this. A scramble, loose ball. Everybody diving on the floor, unable to bring it in, and then the drive in, the defense collapses on the ball, and that leaves Riley LaChance wide open from beyond the arc.
3 threes on the night for LaChance. Knox spins, turns, right hand, wouldn't drop.
Nick Richards
push off underneath that time, and that is on LaChance, his third now.
That's twice, by the way, that he has been able to draw a foul getting underneath the basket. Nick Richards, meaning, on the offensive glass, trying to box him out.
There's Knox again as they double him, throws it up, and it goes in. He turned right into that double, put the ball up, and got it to drop. Good feed from LaChance, and putting it down and heading to the line will be Obina. That is 3 on Nick Richards.
Look, a great pick and slip. Richards has to show and help, slow in his recovery, and then the strong finish underneath.
Obina just turned 18 years old this season. He is raw, but he has upside. 8-point lead for Vanderbilt. That is the largest lead of the night. Short corner wouldn't go. Rebound Lee as he's off to the races. Able to control himself into Obina again in the paint. Ejike Obina.
And this is where, if you're Kentucky, you need to settle it down and get a really good possession. That was not a really good possession. You're down by 10. You do not want to deviate. This is when you want to come together even more. Play within the system, play within the offense.
Lee turning, twisting, and took steps in doing so. 8 turnovers now for Vandy.
Trying to do too much that time for Vanderbilt. Again, I look at Kentucky. I want to see a ball reversal action. I want to see an on-ball screen. I want to see movement away from the ball. Something that looks like a rhythm and flow on this possession test. P.J. Washington was wide open, and Wendy and Gabriel missed him. Trying to get the ball to Kevin Knox.
Diallo now, as he was trying to be the aggressor.
And that's going to be 4 on Riley LaChance.
That is 4 on LaChance. Picked up 2 quick ones here in this second half.
And Riley LaChance asking for the push-off.
And Peyton Willis will be checking in here.
You know what? He got his arm up. LaChance got into him, though, was trying to bait it into the call. I think that's a good call by the official, not giving it to LaChance.
10-point lead for Vandy. Gabriel. Willis up ahead. Obina again will head to the line. So 3 times now they've been able to feed the 6'10" freshman, and that is 3 on Wenyen Gabriel.
Well, where is the defensive transition? I mean, it's not like Obina is doing anything dramatic out on the floor other than just running right to the rim.
Reminder that Saturday you can see Trae Young in action as Oklahoma will be taking on Texas, then Miles Bridges and Michigan State going up against Indiana. It's Saturday on ESPN. Both games are on ESPN and the ESPN app. Tapped out and into the hands of Willis, and you can see the frustration from Big Blue Nation, trailing by 11. Against this Vandy team that is undermanned with Matthew Fisher-Davis out for the remainder of the season. It has been Roberson and LaChance leading the way. Willis for 3. And another long rebound as Vandy is fighting for it. Good give. Obina went up and got rejected that time.
Sasha Kalea-Jones, a beautiful job rotating over to block that shot.
Knox, as he was stripped away, was fouled, as that'll be charged on Saban Lee, his second. Coach Drew's squad up 11 at Rupp. Any way you go through the history of this series of Vanderbilt against Kentucky, the numbers are overwhelming. A ranked Kentucky team against an unranked Vanderbilt team here at Rupp is 38-1. Vandy is 1-50 against Kentucky here in Lexington through the years. And right now they lead 42-31 in the second half. And this is a Vandy team that has dealt with injuries this year, roster change, and here they are on the go again. Toy, and he will head to the line plus that. It is all doors.
Tess, they couldn't even get the ball in bounds out of a timeout.
That is 3 on Kalea-Jones.
Now, Saban Lee might have been out of bounds. His foot might have been out of bounds when he touched the ball there. But either way, you come out of a timeout, you've got to be able to execute and get the ball in bounds, especially underneath your basket.
And Toy caps it, and he has 9 points, and it's a 14-point margin now. Here's Shea. They needed that.
The best offensive weapon tonight has been number 22.
Remember, he's the one who had the hot game in the win against Vandy in Nashville. Toy, strong to the hole. Baptiste couldn't come away with it. Instead, it's Gilgeous-Alexander on the go. Green. Money. Quade Green. And a timeout, Vanderbilt.
I love the press, extending out the press. Creates an opportunity to speed up the game. The tempo of this game has been too comfortable for Vanderbilt for a majority of the night. So when you pressure out, all of a sudden the floor gets spaced. When you come back down and attack offensively, Quade Green hits the shot, the bench, finally with a little pump and a little energy.
60 points, guys, 60.
Yeah, we were just getting word on that stat line, Ravi. James Harden against Orlando tonight. 19 of 30 shooting. Hit 5 threes. Went for 60 points, 11 boards, and 11 assists and 10 boards.
That is
How's
unbelievable.
That? You like that?
That is unbelievable.
Any good? Decent stat line?
How many shots again? 30, you said?
Yeah, 30. He had 60 points on 30 shots.
That's incredible efficiency.
It really is. Out of the timeout, the turnover. Laura?
Guys, Coach Cal's message this entire second half has been more fight from his team, reminding him it was fight in the second half against West Virginia that got them that win. Also telling him just now to keep pressing to try to scramble it up and saying, hey, one possession at a time to get back in this thing.
From the elbow and the foul, Gilgeous-Alexander. Little bit of fight to him there.
Remember, it was the last time these two teams met. It was Gilgeous-Alexander that paced the entire offense for Kentucky. He had a team best 22, and what I love about his game is he knows exactly where he wants to be. He knows exactly where he wants to get a shot off from, and then he knocks it down. He's so efficient, Tess.
An 8-0 run for the Cats. And now the press. And Toy, as they break it, will put it down. And Toy has 11, and Cal has concerns.
Back line of that defense was supposed to be Sasha Kalia-Jones, and he was nowhere to be found.
Here's Shea again. Tap in that time by Kalia-Jones.
Yeah, he gets it back.
Pressure by Kentucky.
A little bit of energy in the building. I kind of like it.
So do the Cats. And Big Blue Nation needs to get behind them right now as they cut it to 6. Good feed off it here. Another turnover. And it is now 10 for Bryce Drew's Commodores.
Worthy to note that Riley LaChance has been sitting on the bench for a while now with 4 personal fouls.
Picked up those quick 2 in this second half.
At what point in time, if you're Bryce Drew, do you bring him back?
You got that 4th at the 16:25 mark. Senior leadership, great three-point shooter. Has come up clutch time and time again. Nice work by Quade Green. He is fine in his stride here in this second half, and Kentucky cuts it to 4. Vandy led by 14. Remember the other night against West Virginia, it was 17. Vanderbilt was fouled. That'll be charged on Cleavon Brown as Riley LaChance just looks on, unable to help the cause. Chance is coming back in. The senior, 4 fouls when he left the game. Well, he had made 3 3-pointers earlier.
And I guarantee you, whoever he is guarding, they're going to post up on the very next possession. Coach Cal is going to look to attack Riley LaChance the next time they get down to this floor.
Roberson through the lane, and the foul.
Good patience, good floor spacing, and great execution by Roberson. But for the Kentucky Wildcats, they have to be down evidently by double digits, partner, to wake up and start playing with purpose and energy, because in the last couple of minutes, they've been much more aggressive, creating turnovers on defense, rebounding the ball, attacking the rim, not settling. Quade Green with a couple of big shots, as well as Gilgeous-Alexander. The Cats, they're back.
Bucci and Anderson going to get you up to speed on Gronk, Love, and Alex Smith. We got a little bit of everything coming up. Set for the Super Bowl, the NBA, Cleveland's injury they'll be dealing with, and the quarterback trade in the NFL. That follows the action here with Vandy and Kentucky, Sean.
And there you see Riley LeChance, and with the 4 personal fouls, Coach Calipari made it a point of emphasis as soon as he checked in to talk to his point guard. I guarantee you what he was telling him is, whoever he's guarding, we're going to try to run, have him chase, post up, attack off the perimeter, but you're going to find number 13 on this next possession if you're Kentucky.
Roberson at the line as he was able to attenuate the Kentucky momentum of a 13-2 run. To a 6-point lead for Vanderbilt.
Okay, so they go to the zone, not playing man-to-man. This makes it a little bit more difficult to attack him. You can put him in an on-ball screen if you want to. If you're Quade Green, you look to attack his legs.
Shea crossover left hand, and Riley with the rebound. Trying to feed Brown, who couldn't control it.
Brown was playing a play ahead of where the ball was.
Laura?
Well, yeah, guys, Bryce Drew telling Riley LeChance and the rest of his team, Kentucky's going to be all over you, wanting to alert them of that. Also saying the key right now, we've got to get some stops to get momentum back on our side and to be able to execute the way that we want to.
And to Laura's point, when you're turning the ball over, it allows Kentucky to get out in transition where they are still so explosive.
Here's Roberson as he was fouled and will head to the line again, earning another trip. It's the second on Gilgeous-Alexander.
I like Saban Lee a lot.
I do too. Quite an athlete, isn't he?
This young, talented point guard for Vanderbilt does an excellent job of breaking down the defense, but when he gets to the middle of the paint, he's not just looking to score, he's looking to kick out to his teammates, which creates the seam for Roberson to attack to.
Saban Lee's father is the former football star Amp Lee, who's the running back for Coach Bobby Bowden at Florida State, played 9 years in the NFL. He's got that football lineage.
Well,
he's also got the first name Saban.
You were giving us some trivia, though, on his dad.
Amp Lee, great answer to a trivia question. He caught Joe Montana's last touchdown pass thrown as a 49er.
There you go. You're a wealth of knowledge, Tess.
Dad played for Bobby Bowden, and his first name is Saban. As Richards tried to go up and was fouled that time, leaning back, trying to get that ball.
Roberson got underneath him a little bit and almost undercut him. I think he was anticipating the shot. And on the anticipation of the shot, when it was really a lob at the rim, he got into the legs of Richards, and that could have been a lot worse than it was. A quiet second half for Richards after he got off to a great start in the first half.
One more. Foul on Roberson, his third. Richards with 10 points tonight. Young man who grew up in Jamaica, made his way to prep in New Jersey, and growing up a bit in his freshman season here at Kentucky. Roberson got it right over P.J. Washington. A 20-point night now for Roberson.
Just a beautiful job of bringing the defense, the dribble handoff action that's weaving across the top of the floor, forcing the defense to shift.
Knox couldn't respond. Rebound, Roberson. Great example of the speed and athleticism of Saban Lee. Back to a double-digit margin, 11-point lead for Vanderbilt.
Just how about the response by Vanderbilt after watching their lead almost completely evaporate here to Kentucky?
From the corner, gets the roll. Gilgeous-Alexander trying to keep the Cats around. A 14-point lead that shriveled up to 3, and then they pushed it back to double digits. Kentucky trying to have back-to-back games with big comebacks. Pesky Vandy team, as Saban Lee's efforts will earn a trip to the stripe.
The last 3 possessions offensively have been great. This was the misdirection, the throwback, forces the run out from Washington deep underneath. He was guarding the post on that play, and then the last 2 possessions, it's been Saban Lee. And one of the things I love about him is you talked about his burst ability, his find a seam and then aggressively attack it. This last drive that got him to the free throw line, he actually almost came to a complete stop and then downshifted and went right back at it. That change of pace elevates up the defense, allowed him to earn the foul and get to the free throw line.
That's the look of concern. When will things start to engage for Kentucky? Young team can be fickle.
And they've proven that tonight. So many of those positive things that we talked about in the first half that we saw in Morgantown, all of a sudden now you start questioning again the carryover. It's not just if Kentucky wants to fulfill its promise, if Kentucky wants to become the team that when you close your eyes and you say, okay, how good can this team be? They've got to start having carryover from one game to the next. And in particular, sustain their energy and focus for longer periods of time. They made that great run, and now all of a sudden the air is out of the building again. It seems like the team is flat.
And for so many, what happened on Saturday night completely changed the outlook and view of this Kentucky team. There were so many who walked away from Saturday night saying, you see, they're grown up, they're developed, they're ready for the next step, and you know where it's going to be heading towards March. Lee, shot fake, LaChance tapped away.
Got a scramble situation here.
To the corner. Toy through the lane, goes to the left hand, but it wouldn't drop in. And now Green pushing. And the follow tap wouldn't go from Diallo. 3-on-2. Splits them to the corner. Rebound Knox, and he was fouled.
That was a fatigue foul by Toy.
Sure was.
Toy was tired. The pace of the game was getting too quick for the Commodores.
I think they're going to tag this on Roberson. And for Roberson, that'll be 4, Sean. So now the 2 guys that they lean on the most with 4 apiece, Roberson and LaChance.
Expect to see a ton of zone and a ton of help anytime those guys are in a position where they could even remotely foul. You leave either one, and you lose either one of those 2 players, and Vanderbilt really struggles to score. Remember, Kentucky made its run when Riley LaChance was on the bench. He came back into the game as the lead was almost completely gone and allowed it to balloon back out.
He hit a 3 earlier in the second half that gave them the big lead up to double digits. They got it up to 14.
Watch for the on-ball screen here for Saban Lee. Here it is.
Roberson stripped away and fouled. That'll be on Green. Been a long time since Vandy's been able to pull one off here at Rupp. They only have 2 wins in their history, in 06 and 07. Can they hang on and get it done here tonight? meantime, his brother Bryce Drew dealing with overcoming some all-time history here with a lead against Kentucky at Rupp. Vanderbilt all-time on the road against ranked opponents, 20 wins, 139 losses, and they are 2-38 against Kentucky at Rupp Arena. Right now a 7-point lead with 7:41 to play, and Roberson at the line.
Roberson now 8 for 8 this evening at the free throw line, and he's done a tremendous job every single time Vanderbilt's needed a bucket. Seemingly he's earned a trip to the free throw line to calm the game back down.
He's been a great leader for Bryce Drew. We talked about, the situation they're in, losing Matthew Fisher-Davis and knowing what's happening with this team and in this tough league. And he's getting the role there was Gilgeous-Alexander. He said, hey, we're not looking at a record. We're playing to get better and to build a program. Well, nights like this really helped for that.
Oh, great job, though, by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, knowing on the drive that Riley LeChance was going to back up. He kept giving up real estate. Just keep taking it until you get to the spot where you're comfortable to make the shot.
Clock down to 3. LeChance steps back. And rebound fought for and ends up with a second chance opportunity for the Doors. Bryce Drew, his second year at Vandy, led him to the NCAA tournament last year. First time a first-year Vandy coach had ever done that. LeChance. As it rattled out. He's not bashful, though, when it comes to that, is he?
Well, that was a good look and a step in 3.
Knox! Why not?
There's a step in 3 from Kevin Knox.
And they have chiseled away at it. Back down to 4. Laura.
Guys, Coach Cal telling his team there's still plenty of time, reminding them possession by possession. That's how we get back in this. Also something to watch. He said they've done a good job limiting jumpers, but have had chances to charge they aren't taking.
That doesn't help. As Lee was on the receiving end, Coach Cal frustrated. That's what they did to West Virginia the other night in the midst of that 19-2 run when the game was tied at 56, and it was Knox finishing.
The Browns fans upset that they didn't make the deal to get Alex Smith. Maybe they'll take Jeff Roberson. That was a laser beam.
We'll have more on that coming up on SportsCenter. The news in the NFL as Alex Smith is moving on.
Sloppy ball control that time by Riley LeChance.
Green came away with it. Skip pass to the corner to Shai. Drives, stops, easy, wasn't it? He has 20 points. Something about playing Vandy brings out the best of him. Had 22 back on January 13th. And Rupp is now roaring, and Coach Drew and the gang are going to talk things over. Under 5 to play, and a 4-point lead for Vandy. But Big Blue Nation smells comeback. Sean and Laura with you here at Rupp Arena, where Vandy's trying to pull the upset against Kentucky.
Well, and Tess, the game of basketball, it's often an emotional tug-of-war. And you look at Coach Cal, that was on the home run pass. Was not happy with the layup they gave. Nobody was back, but he loved this one. Stop, finish, and watch the defense roll on by. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing with composure. And as a scorer tonight, he's done a tremendous job of getting to his spot.
9 of 13 shooting for Gilgeous-Alexander for 20 points. The young man from Ontario, Canada, Preston, Tennessee, originally committed to Florida, landed here at Kentucky, and at times this year, Coach Cal has just raved about him. telling his team, you should all be like Shea. He's our best player. Vandy will inbound off the timeout, up by 4. Senior leaders LaChance and Roberson playing with 4 fouls. Toy from the corner. 3-ball goes in. 14 points for Joe Toy. They have had an answer every single time Kentucky seemingly has momentum. Wenyen Gabriel, as he gives it up to P.J. Washington, denied by Brown. Roberson on the drive as he leads it for Toy. Shot clock at 3. Toy through the lane. And the violation. Seven-point lead for Vandy. Can they pull it off?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile.
Sean?
All right, let's go back in that last possession offensively. Here's you're going to force Kevin Knox to run out there. That creates a very long run for Wenyen Gabriel. If you've got great ball reversal action, you don't hesitate on it. They do it, and they swing. And Wenyen Gabriel, that little hesitation that he had on the block, that's the difference between being there on the closeout and not allowing that three-point shot and watching it go through the rim.
Remember, Vandy is just 1-50 in their history against a ranked Kentucky team playing here in Lexington. A little oopage from PJ. What a difference a week makes. Last week he was filling it up, had 22 against Mississippi State on Super Tuesday, only had 2 against West Virginia, and Washington with only 4 tonight. And good effort with the rebound there from Washington as well. Wenyen Gabriel back out to Gilgeous-Alexander. Working against Lee. 14-footer for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He has 22. Long rebound, Wenyen Gabriel, a chance to tie for Kentucky.
A good look by Quade Green in the corner.
2 minutes to play. Vandy trying to bring home and reel in an upset. Kentucky looking for another great comeback. And never had a chance from Brown.
That wasn't the look you want to get if you're Vanderbilt in that situation.
Kentucky hasn't led since 5 minutes to play in the first. Again with Shea. And we've got a 1-point game, and he has a career high. 4 points from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it's just a 1-point lead for the Doors.
Tess, let me tell you something. The defense has kept Vanderbilt off balance in the last couple possessions. Meanwhile, the level of aggressiveness you've seen from Kentucky has elevated. It started with the pick and roll. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the pass and Washington with the finish above the iron as the defense collapsed and chased the ball. And then you're looking for stability. You're looking for a guy that consistently can make the plays. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has done it time and time again tonight. Just as he did in the first meeting, he has taken over this game offensively.
46 points now in 2 outings against Vandy. And a minute 15 remaining to determine things here at Rupp Arena.
I think about 25% of all the games in the SEC this year have come down to be a one-possession contest. And here we are with a minute and 15. And it's exactly that.
This is a Vanderbilt team who sits at the bottom of the standings in the SEC, but yet went out there and played a huge role in handing the Big 12 SEC challenge to the SEC. LaChance with the left hand.
What a finish.
Great effort. He was so calm and collected and then determined as they push the lead to 3. LaChance, who was sitting with that 4th foul, now with 11 points.
They're going to check the clock potentially to make sure that no extra time ran off. But here's what I'll also tell you. I've been so impressed with Riley LaChance's ability to play with 4 personal fouls, Tess. I mean, the composure that he had, the ability to read the defense, space the floor, and then to attack off the bounce and be able to finish. As that possession was lost when Hami reached and tried to win around the back of Riley LaChance. Looking at the clock, it should be over a minute on the clock, unless they're saying that it stopped.
May have frozen up there for a moment.
I think that's what they're looking at.
Well, as they tend to the clock, let's look at who's flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile.
Flip of the switch tonight has been Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, tying a career high, 24 points, 18 coming in the second half test. And look at the efficiency, 11 of 15. I mean, he gets to the spot on the floor every single time where he wants to elevate. If you're a young basketball player, you're watching thinking you're a guard, where do you want to get to? When you're driving, where's your spot that you feel comfortable to finish? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been that guy consistently here in the second half. Riley LaChance checked back into this game, by the way, Tess, at 12:13 on the clock. 12:13 on the clock, 4 personal fouls. He has not fouled out of the game. What he has done is continue to make big play after big play for Vanderbilt.
You know, not just the scoring out of Gilgeous-Alexander, but you noted at the beginning of this broadcast the moment of leadership that he showed in recent days against West Virginia when he stepped in, he diffused a situation that could have escalated. They have been waiting for one of these freshmen to be that guy.
Well, and everybody keeps going, well, who's your go-to scorer? And they get excited because Kevin Knox had the big game last time out. And more often than not, it is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that is the guy that's able to create a shot for himself or create a shot for a teammate. And they're going to have another timeout now, taking another 30 seconds by Kentucky.
Well, they've adjusted the clock, so it'll stay at 56-9. What should be, Sean, Kentucky's approach here with the ball?
Well, I think it's very simple. What's the play that works most? I think you flatten everybody out. You look to get the ball in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's hands. If he feels like he can go right away, you're going to let him go. If not, you're going to call for a ball screen right away and then let him try to get downhill and attack. Something going towards the basket, though. If you are going to take a three, it's got to be on a kick out, and it's got to be somebody like Kevin Knox that's going to knock down the shot. I don't want anybody else shooting the three. I don't want P.J. Washington shooting the three here. I don't want Wenyen Gabriel shooting the three here. I want 22 making the decision, though.
Well, he has made plenty of them in this second half to chip away at what was a 14-point lead for Vanderbilt. They got it down to 1. It stands now at 3 with 56.9 to play. Kentucky with 2 timeouts remaining. Vandy has exhausted theirs. Possession arrow is with Vandy. And here he is, just like you said. The cut baseline. Quade Green was denied. Gabriel tracks it down. And now the ball is loose. And Joe Toye comes up with it.
How about the defensive effort out of Vanderbilt on that possession?
Knox, air ball. Gabriel tried to save it, and he does. It'll still be Kentucky ball with half a minute to play, trailing by 5. It's been 10 years since Vandy has won at Rupp Arena. See the foul that time is a contact with Toye. Charged with the foul.
It was a great pass underneath, and just defensively, Brown timing it perfectly. Wenyen Gabriel just could not control the ball. He had it in his hands, and then it was a number situation and an easy finish.
Gilgeous-Alexander shooting 2.
On the make, you're going to see the press right away. There'll be a sub. It'll be Jared Vanderbilt subbing in. And then here comes the press.
And a good substitution, by the way, by Bryce Drew to get Brown out of the game. Just a 46% free throw shooter. He's gone.
Able to get it in to Willis and up ahead to LaChance. Over to Toye, who's played such a big role tonight. And there is the foul with 19.9 remaining. Well, LaChance is an 83% shooter.
Well, and the problem was Toye had the ball. Who do you want to foul out on the floor if you're Kentucky? You want to foul Toye, a 59% free throw shooter. But let's remember, Riley LaChance was at the line in the first meeting. He had 3 free throws late in that game when they were down by 4. He missed all 3.
Can you believe that? He had a chance for redemption, and now Kentucky a chance to tie. Green on the drive, they'll let him get in there, and that'll cut it to a 1-point lead with 8.7 to play.
You wonder how much those free throws that he missed in Nashville were on Riley LaChance's mind as he stepped to the free throw line.
First game against Kentucky. Vandy was down by 4. Riley LaChance was fouled shooting a 3 with 34 seconds left. Went to the line, and he missed all 3.
It was unthinkable for the fans inside that building, who at the time, Riley LaChance was shooting better than 90% from the free throw line.
And just moments ago, missing the front end of the 1-and-1. Was LaChance's.
Did you see his
only free throw?
His follow-through went to the side. It went down and to the right. It did not come off his fingertips well.
Now things change with the game on the line here at Rupp against these Cats.
Well, now the thing is, you have to remember, with who is out on the floor, Saban Lee is an 86% free throw shooter. Jeff Roberson hasn't missed tonight. He is 9 for 9 at the free throw line. Willis and Toye would be ideally who you'd like to foul if you can, if you're Kentucky.
Both shoot 59%.
If not, go back to Riley LaChance, put him on the line again, and see if the mental aspect of the free throw line gets to him.
Roberson will be inbounding, 8.7. Gonna get it to Toye. Back to Roberson. 5.8 remains. You mentioned the night that Roberson has had. Sitting on 22 points, perfect from the line, 9 for 9.
Another timeout by Kentucky.
Remember earlier tonight what Vanderbilt head coach Bryce Drew said to his team.
I believe. Sir. We've talked about believing. You guys have believed the last couple weeks. All right, we have to start with believing, not for 5 minutes, not for 10. If we have a lead 30 minutes into this game, it's not good enough. All right, we believe for 40 minutes. When you come over, your eyes, your face, everything better show us that you believe. That you believe that we're going to win this game after 40 minutes.
And they've shown that for a majority of this contest, even withstanding the run that you knew Kentucky was going to put at them. Vanderbilt, as you mentioned, Tess, multiple times tonight. They are 2 for their last 40 games inside this building.
And this team, this edition of Vanderbilt, hasn't beaten a ranked team all year long. And they came up big the other night, the upset win against TCU.
This is the SEC, though. We saw Georgia win at home tonight against a Florida team that came off of a big win against Baylor over the weekend. And now you have a Kentucky team coming off of that emotional great victory over West Virginia. And a Vanderbilt team that, by the way, is still finding itself post Matthew Fisher-Davis.
Matthew Fisher-Davis is out for the remainder of the season. He was hurt against Kentucky back on January 13th. He was a senior leader who was averaging nearly 12 points per game and was 6th all-time in their career three-pointers made. So consider that loss and consider what this team has done in the position they could be in here if they can hold on with 5.8 remaining. 1-1 for Jeff Roberson at the line. He's a perfect 9 for 9 from the stripe tonight.
All right, so now it's a 2-point game. Obviously, you look to attack. You've got plenty of time with 5.8. If he misses this, if it's the make, you're going to look for the 3. Quade Green would be the guy that's hit the shot. Either that or Kevin Knox from beyond the arc. Those are the 2 guys I want. Now you can drive.
Ball batted around. Can they even get off? He's fouled!
What about that? Loose ball. You cannot put yourself in that position.
Kentucky will be shooting 2 to get this done. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Watch this off the missed free throw.
And if you're Toy, you just cannot put yourself in that situation. It's 2 seconds left. It's going to have to be a heave at that point. Instead, you just give him the walk up to the free throw line.
Gilgeous-Alexander 3 for 3 tonight. They were down by 14. The roar says it all. How do you feel about overtime at Rupp? Super Tuesday, feeling super tonight. It'll be OT in Lexington. Overtime is presented by 5 Hour Energy. And there is a boost of energy here at Rupp Arena. Thrilled you're with us here on Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Media. Joe Tessitore, Sean Farnham, Laura Rutledge with you. Moments ago, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2 free throws made with 2 seconds remaining to tie it. As Kentucky came all the way back, they were down 14, and it wasn't a steady ascent. Vandy answered time and time again to stem things.
Well, and the difference in this game right now, it's very simple. It is at the free throw line, and it was Riley LaChance one-on-one, and he missed it. Then he gave up a Quade Green layup. Then after the first, it was Roberson with the miss, Toy with the foul, and the player who made the plays all night long goes to the free throw line and does exactly what you'd expect him to do. Make the free throws. 28 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
He has 50 points in 2 games now against Vandy. Coach Cal has been thrilled with Gilgeous-Alexander. Says he's always smiling. Says, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing. Every Canadian that I've coached has fun. They smile. They don't feel the weight of the world on them. Gilgeous-Alexander, reason to make his coach smile. The freshman from Hamilton, Ontario.
You got to remember, right now, Roberson and LaChance, they still have been out there with 4 personal fouls for a long time, Tess.
Here's Shai again.
Oh, come on, Tess.
How about it, Farnham? A 30-point night for Shai. Kentucky never led in the second half, and now a 2-point lead to start overtime.
He is the 8th freshman in the Cal era to have 30 points in a single game in second consecutive games that it's happened for Kentucky.
Washington strips it away from Roberson.
Is there any doubt who you want shooting the ball here, Tess?
He's got the ball right now, my man. Washington nearly lost it and was fouled that time. That'll be charged on Toy, his 4th. Laura.
As Coach Cal in the huddle giving props to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, saying what an incredible moment for a freshman to make those free throws at the end of regulation. Also, guys, at the end of regulation, Coach Cal was asking the huddle, who's the best passer? Who should we rely on here? They all pointed to Jared Vanderbilt. Maybe something to keep in mind as this one comes to a close.
Now, Toy has made a couple of mental lapses that has given up free throw opportunities for Kentucky. It was the one at the end of regulation, and then that one there reaching in for no apparent reason. And Coach Drew going to have him sit down and talk to him about poise in this moment. It's a teaching moment right now. For P.J. Washington, keeping your composure at the line.
His first visit to the line tonight, and he gives Kentucky a 4-point lead. They trailed West Virginia by 17 Saturday. They trailed this Vandy squad by 14 here in the second half tonight. Been wildly entertaining. Willis, long 3 for Peyton Willis. Knox responds.
How great is this, Tess?
This is what the SEC has been like throughout the entire season. Match them up, playing close games, depth, parity, competition. The league has gotten so much stronger top to bottom. As the drive that time by Lee, and the foul will be on P.J. Washington.
Now back and forth action. Drive in. Willis sizes up. The hand goes down as Knox takes a negative step away, and then watch the drive. The defense having to react because the night Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had. This time he finds his teammate, and it's Kevin Knox who's able to knock it in. Boy, the free throw line is going to be a nightmare for Vanderbilt if they come up short in this game. Down the stretch of regulation, here into overtime. You have to be able to step up in these moments and knock down your shot.
If Riley LaChance did, perhaps we wouldn't be in overtime. And an 0 for Tripp, but a second chance here as they get the rebound. Lee goes up strong and into the hands of Quade Green for the Cats. You want more? Couldn't connect. Trying to keep that hot hand going with Shea. Here's Willis again over Gabriel. Got it! Peyton Willis. He is hot in overtime, and it's a one-point game again.
There was no hesitation whatsoever there. In transition, he got his feet set. Wenyen Gabriel was there for the closeout.
Washington trying to follow up there. And now the Doors on the go. Here's Willis as they will reset things with Riley LaChance, the senior from Brookfield, Wisconsin, who has given so much to this program. With the left hand, it goes. And just like that, Vanderbilt is back on top.
How about the execution? That's the same play they ran late in the second half to quiet this crowd down, and LaChance finishes it once again.
Knox to retake. And the foul!
Are you not entertained?
Wildly.
The motion of the game of basketball. Kevin Knox aggressively driving. Gets the contact, the soft touch off the finish, and the raw motion.
Back and forth they go as Knox looks to cap the three-point play. Points for Knox. 2-point lead for Kentucky. Believe has been the mantra all night long. From Bryce to his team. Willis, the corner, batted out. LaChance has it. Under a minute to play, trailing by 2. Too much trying to get over Washington.
Never had a chance. Great defense that time by P.J. Washington.
And now Kentucky with a chance to secure things here.
They're going to back off. They've got the mismatch they want.
Here we go. Vandy. Willis from the corner. Follow up, and we're tied up again with 11 seconds to play. Right spot, right time. Here comes Quade Green. And he scores on the other end. Inbounds. Willis, last chance. Desperation. Kentucky holds on.
What a game, Tess. The poise of the Cats not to be rattled. And it's Quade Green on a night that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander absolutely owned. It's the fellow freshman guard that comes up with the big play to end it.
That was awesome stuff. Just awesome stuff. And these young Cats keep growing up when the pressure's on.
The ball movement, nobody boxes out on the weak side. Brown able to knock it in, that ties the game. And then watch, all of a sudden the ball gets inbound and there's no sense of energy. Here all of a sudden comes a burst through the lane, able to finish with 4.3 left to go.
Cal's team trailed by 17 the other night, trailed by 14 tonight. They won both, Laura.
All right, thanks, Joe. Coach, you have Gilgeous-Alexander make 2 free throws at the end of regulation to send it into overtime. What was that moment like?
Happy for him, and I looked at him and he looked at me, and he was saying I was going to make it, but we just didn't have the fight that we had the other day, and I just don't get it. But they figured out in the end, and basically I went with 5 guys. Whoever wants a fight is going to play. The rest of you are not playing, and they're good kids, and we're just learning. We're just so young.
How do you get them to sustain some of that focus that you're looking for?
I'm hoping before the year's out that we can land this plane and there's some runway left. But right now, we just have no consistency out of guys, each individual. It's just hard. But I'm happy we won. I don't know how we won this game. This is one that, I feel for Vandy because they did everything they were supposed to win the game.
Of course, when you're not feeling well, it goes into overtime. We hope you feel better, Coach.
I'm feeling better.
That'll boost your spirits, Cal. Vandy was 1 for 5 on the free throws in the last minute of regulation and overtime, Sean.
Well, and this was the drive that won it. Quade Green, a little skip through, and then Willis, who was so big in overtime, he shoots the shot, and it comes up short. You have to watch Bryce Drew. If you can see him in the corner of your screen, he's down on the floor. He dropped to his knee. He wanted that one so desperately to go down. Instead, it's elation for the Cats.
A thriller. Quade Green had the game winner. Shea had most of the highlights with 30 points. And Kentucky comes back again, 83-81. For Sean and Laura, I'm Joe Tessitore, asking you to enjoy the rest of your night, especially with SportsCenter right now.